properly. Otherwise, you're flashing more of your teammates than the enemy. So we'll have to see how that works. The double doors position makes a lot of sense for where the KO is going to be. Just re-peeking that entrance, almost like a Phoenix does on Haven with double doors. But obviously, very different ballgame with the size of Breeze.
Well, yeah, I think that a lot of this is going to come down to the utility cycling of Zeke. Like, he's going for the early information to see where everyone is. And already, Mira's tagged desperately low. Starzo, we're seeing him on the Viper. We didn't even really mention that, but that is not something we expected to see coming into this series. A switch up for quite a few different agents as the Sky goes missing on their side. And, well, we know that Wtcn is more puggy style. These individual players looking to try and pop off, and this time it's Joe finding a couple. But again, it always seems to swing back into these 2 versus 2. The overhealed.
Abi bu adamın da armor'ı var ya.
Something here slightly weak, but he gets one anyway, and now it's left onto those in-game leaders facing off for who has the biggest brain, who can bring home this round.
Hadi.
And Joe, he's in the spot to hold it, and he's gonna find the headshot to close. 3 kills in the pistol. And Wtcn start things strong.
Yeah, wobbly start. Wtcn, you clearly sort of see the style that they're going for. Very fast. Heat and Murray is absolutely sending it through a hole to try and get to that switch, put a lot more pressure over on that A site, and I guess most importantly, taking the KO away from that double doors. He can't play in that position if he's going to get crunched from players coming through cave, and suddenly that switch position. You're kind of in a rough old spot.
Sen hangi takım destekliyorsun? Acend-Keyd'i destekliyorum.
In the end. And BO3, it's a tough clutch to win.
Evet, biraz fazla bağırıyor ya Brezilyalı arkadaşlarımız.
Everybody's having their moments on VK.
Acend does have himself an investment, and although a little bit of utility has gone in that direction, it's not really done anything to stop him, especially when it's Mura's taken those battles. We mentioned he's been on supportive roles for the last couple of maps at least, but in this one he's taking front and center stage, and we definitely know he has the ability to. On the other side, how can they make this costly? 1 kill already, it's not bad. Anything more, and you'd say Acend have done well here.
And also on the flip side for Acend, with use of St. Murray's is going away from the support agents to something more deadly. It's the opposite for Zeke. Like, he had the biggest performance on that raise. KO, you have to play a bit off of your teammates. You can't flash yourself in. Well, you can flash yourself in.
As he flashes himself in.
Just as I say that. But it's not like you can run him as the tip of the spear.
Hemen geliyorum.
And when you have Cned on your team playing that jet, you don't want to be doing that anyway. Or do you?
Bu Brezil erken geliyor sesleri ya. Erken seviniyorlar. Niye öyle oğlum?
Nonetheless, 2-0.
You know what discussion we're about to get into? Neural theft is an ultimate?
Average.
Best in the game.
No. Maybe if you're Matt or Kukuka, same thing.
I think it's just something that we're all
5-10 saniye geç sevmeseler de mutlu olsak biz de spoiler almasak. Keyifli olmaz mı?
For sure. See, we were talking about the 70% bonus pick. You had 90% win rate whenever you use a neural theft.
That's not a true fact.
Do you know? Nice.
Just to be clear,
Oy.
we're joking. Cned isn't. I like this
Adamlar
angle.
istediği zaman sevinirler.
Ama spoiler geliyor. Tamam. Hani sen rahatsız olacaksın şimdi birazdan.
Obviously this is the bonus round for Wtcn, but Cned has had enough of his opponents coming back. He's back on his jet and he is slaughtering them. Only Vixen can put him in the grave. And while eventually BO3 is going to close out the round, Cned not only getting off with a 4K in the first buy round, but he's already got his Blade Storm.
And it didn't really require all that much when it comes to team play. It's just Cned sitting on an angle that clearly from how the utility was used.
Ama ben sordum onu.
Standing in head of that layer. Dashes out.
Ben bunu sordum.
He enters. Even if he doesn't get the kill here onto Heat, he does have that support coming in from BO3, who has a nice little boost on his final kill. Would have been a nice little ace for Cned.
Sen rahat kesil.
And now that full buy is coming in, like you say, the Empress is available. I'm curious to see what Muris can do. He's going to be pushing into that cave position. And Keylez, actually a Starzo even. I'm so used to it being Keylez on the Viper, to be honest. Only using that poison cloud, saving a toss of screen for a retake. I've seen a lot of teams start to do that nowadays.
Yeah, sat back watching, leaving that open space for Cned to play with, and that is the thing with playing this combination of KO and Sova. You can clear 2 early angles with the utility that you have, And then you can have these sort of gamble stacks. It's something I've really loved with watching Cloud9 being one of the best teams, I would say, in the world at the moment on this map. I'm not really against Acend trying to sort of yoink their comp a little bit.
I'm glad that you like best teams in the world on this map. I mean, they are one of the best
Adanalı
teams in the
geldi
world.
ya.
Yeah. There's a lot of room to grow.
Yok mu bir Adana Demirspor formasıyla bir yayını ya?
Maybe too soon.
Yaptı ya oğlum zaten.
Şeyde, Valorant'ta.
Ona bir Fenerbahçe forması göndermek lazım bak.
Harbi doğru.
Cino? Cned has just put them in the ground again.
Türk iş jet ha? Lan nazar değdik. Anlık insta nazar değdirdik.
It's already turned into a save, and you can see Killers looking to try and come in on the flank. They want to remove this operator from Heat's hands. The fact is, though, Acend, as we saw mentioned, doing so well with the information game to find out where their opponents would be. But then they also just had utility like the fragment, denying them, splitting them up as they move into the site. Then you have some isolated by the utility holding
Bunun ölmesi lazım ama ya.
that poison orb. And so they basically had to try and take individual duels versus Cedar with a Blade Storm, which... Not really not surprised it went the way it did.
Yep, it's almost like a gladiator going out into the Colosseum. It's just what's going to happen? And yeah, Cned is one of the players that we have been highlighting. And I also did want to say, whilst we have the chance, a year ago these guys qualified for First Strike. And a team called Wtcn. You got to rep the 0.5.
Thank you, man.
The same with NBS to coach Zeke, going from Wtcn to G2 and then back to Acend, kind of. And this time last year, we didn't know really too much about BO3 as a player, for sure. Keyless, these were not the Ignition series players,
12.
right?
olsun,
They
çok
were just
teşekkürler, çok sağ ol.
trials, and that's the exciting thing about this squad. It's not like the big names from CS. Those have the big Twitch followings to be brought in for various reasons, other than, of course, just being good enough to play professionally. These are some of the diamonds
Adam
in
bir
the
saat bekledi oraya ya.
At least. Pistols and the 2 save guns from the last, but it's already kicked off in at least a pretty solid way. He is going to find that kill onto Zeke. A lot of that information will be quelled.
Görüşürüz sağ.
But more so it might give them that little bit of extra space, and I think BO3 realizes it already, looking to try and even up the tide, timing everything, but the headshot angle is perfect, and he's not going to overfight that.
Angle perfect ya.
Just because like you lose that KO, you only have the intel information with those utility. Like he has the recon dat ready, didn't want to use it there because he didn't want to give up the nice sneak up. And Keyless, he's prepared, just anchoring onto this site. Obviously he can get information himself, but not to the same level as Sova. And that gap has been exploited from Murray's, but luckily because BO3
hiç gerek yok, geri çık abi, geri çık. Bekle takım arkadaşlarını. Güzel bir retake bizi bekliyor.
The Viper's pit will go through to give them that little bit of extra space, deny the aggression, and more so Heat is looking to try and play around the other side. Now, if he falls, this becomes a little bit more difficult. And actually, they really want to hunt him down, forcing him to dash out of position, at least clearing that right-hand side.
Nice start, Zo.
And with Joe dropping, this becomes a little bit tougher. Now, Victor's desperately
low
HP, and he's kind of got stuck in his own ultimate. It's going to be left all onto Heat. Now, at least the pit will be dropped. He survives on 1 HP, but BO3 continues from his early aggression and closes it. 3-2 in favor of Acend.
Just from start to finish again, just not using utility to go for some coy plays
By
to catch Wtcn on the rotation.
Game, I will 100% say,
He kind of went into this position where they take out Keyless on the side,
you can say,
utility goes down, and then they dedicate the Viper's
you should
pit.
say like this.
Situations like this, it was probably not intended. Flicks through, I mean,
I feel like
it looked like some sort of like VCR tape there.
Yeah, I feel like, what was it, Vixen just got stuck on the wall? I think that actually is. Is gone. You are then just reliant on Heat killing everyone, which, you know...
He did get a kill in that moment at the same time.
It does happen every once in a while, but we're actually going to see a double operator thrown in here. I don't know if that's off the back of picking the one from the last round, but Starzo on an operator Viper. Not something I ever thought I'd see, especially considering he's not far off getting his own ultimate. It probably isn't the best gun to have.
It's awkward though, because they're both towards mid and B. So retaking with 2 hops, it was already hard enough with 1 at this point. I think another big thing is going to be Vixen surviving. It's a nice toxic screen. It's very default what you expect, but it means that utility has to be sort of under pressure. And it's even the operator that gets the kill in the end. Nice shock dart snakebite combination and the fragment catching him on the get-go, but still.
Ya yalan mermiye öldü Starzo var ya.
Zeke trades things back though. Both players isolated within the cave. They need to try and find a way to push out, and instead Zeke's looking to push in. He's got Bone Cold spamming through.
Sakin arkadaşlar.
MW0, he has a chance here. He's gonna get all three. Again, this man and the multi-frags will pull through the Red Bull clutch. And Wtcn have themselves a third.
I think that's why they wanted MW0 on this team for this tournament. Do you reckon?
Pull out the checkbook, lads.
Red Bull clutch, and that is exactly what Mira
Hadi
said
tamam,
that they
Bone
wanted
Cold
from
neyse
this
de yani.
Kind of know that so
Zeke nasıl vuramadı?
holds back, like even now.
Hadi o da neyse, Cino.
We wanted to play later, but we wanted
It's just
to,
like, you know who I am.
we wanted to see this guy on the international stage in a very different role and style to what we used to, but I think I like this style a little more.
Insu, this ah be abi, emotional ah be abi. Ah be abi.
Early shock dart just to try and destroy the Cypher utility. Force people to play further towards that tube area. And actually, Mirrors again. He's just going walking in. They're trying to sell this as if it's an identical take. That's the plan. Go moving in directly through.
Kiran 5. enkli olsun, hoş geldin.
They've already pulled players away and left it. I was going to say just onto CNED, but CNED's
bu kötü ya.
Does well to get the kill, takes a peek as well with all of that utility being thrown through. Gets that information, but now it's a nice double bait. Starzo looks away at the worst possible time when it comes to that double doors control, and because of that Bone Cold isn't really expecting somebody to be right in his face. Keyless is on this side, he's got a lot to deal with.
Doesn't get anything for it. CNED has at least dropped the Clutch King from the last, and Starzo
in the game.
Trying to put through a little bit of utility to deny them. Hasn't actually worked out. But they've cleared a lot of these close angles. This round definitely isn't done, and by the looks of it, it's going to be the cave after plant that's set up now for that attacking side. A single snakebite remains if they want to attempt it. Realistically, Starzo can actually just walk past this utility. Instead, he decides to shoot it, use that Viper's Pit, and they're not going to kill him off before it pops. This makes things a little bit awkward, but with Heat close up, he might be able to just kill them off before they go for any sort of defusal. They don't expect him to be this close, and it's left onto CNED. First shot landed, but the time is ticking, and it doesn't seem like there's any chance in hell he'll be able to hold on this time. 4-3 in favor of Wtcn.
Sonundakini bilseydi şöyle çıkardı oraya pat amına koyup pat oraya da. Sonundakini bilmiyordum, sonundakini.
We've seen a few of those moments. It's not even really been clutch situations in the Ascend. Like for Ascend, Wtcn, it's always been that one player.
İnanmıştım orada play yapacağını da canım.
1v3 in MW0's case. For Ascend, it's just been these nice mid-play rounds. And the response from Wtcn after the clutch, that momentum is up, and of course, I think this is the right play. Ascend calling the timeout because losing the round in round 6 was awkward. This one was close.
I'm actually curious. So we've got a glimpse of the buy there. It does seem like we've actually got an operator currently bought for CNED.
Wtcn 12 aydır, Aldet 32 aydır. Hoş geldiniz efendim. Strange'in TV teşekkür ederim.
Almost risky investment for them here, but one that it definitely
Moruk bu ne ya?
Especially with this sort of map being so fast, I guess I could say, for the side of Wtcn. If you just lose the site, he just saves. If he pushes your site, maybe CNED kills them all.
Is it worth those kind of gambles?
Abi bulamıyorum.
I mean, it would be if it works.
Senin attığın link açılmıyor. Siteye giriyorum, box çeşitleri yazıyorum, açılmıyor.
It's also
Ahmet.
Just trying something and having that magic to make it happen. Because I think that's the aspect that was missing really.
Aradığınız sayfaya erişilemiyor diyor. Bana niye box çeşitleri yazdırıyorsun abi siteye sokup?
You don't really see that from Ascend, at least nowadays. The CNED was just the title card, I suppose, with that opping. But I think that a lot of people have a good read on it. It's not like Ascend don't have that ability. It just doesn't show up when it matters.
Really made.
Certainly in this series.
25 kişiye hesaplık edin için çok teşekkürler.
Especially with, I think Starzo clutches is something that
çok sağ ol hocam, eyvallah.
I used to love watching, especially
Rego Emilia 11. ayıklı olsun.
Have we seen any of them?
I don't think. I think there was a round on Icebox where he managed to just multi-frag aggressively inside
Niye
the
limonata?
lockdown, but I do get what you mean. Maybe the frequency has been reduced a bit.
And also on a different
Twitter'dan yaz bana limonata.
Is he going to be like Nats overnight on the Viper? Hard to get a gauge. And also it's just a mix of like Ascend feeling much more fundamental in how they approach stuff. And they have a mental coach as well, which is probably one of the things that they spoke about, of just like, it's not, you don't need to be the one that has these clutch out moments from Wtcn. For example, But it helps. It surely helps at this point, and especially if confidence gets knocked easily from Acend.
Alo Bonkolt.
You gotta wonder what.
Map'e bakıyordu galiba ya.
Not the start they were hoping for. Acend. He's there on the cross, but the screen is not going to allow him anything. And again, they can just fall back and play these sort of after-plant scenarios. Now, for Joe, realistically, he's wasting their time, but he doesn't want to die here, because they don't have any other rifles excluding the one that's currently on Wtcn. So if he can just make sure that he's causing them issues while surviving, that's going to be enough. And every other player slowly being picked off. Now, Wtcn has to try and avoid the majority of the other players while saving this operator, because if this goes down, he hasn't actually earned enough kills. Now, if he gets 2 kills in this round and then dies, he gets himself the Blade Storm. So that's why I feel this investment actually came through. He's got no kills so far.
No.
Nice oğlum Cino. CT bak şimdi.
Feels like with ult economy, it's been few and far between. Have we seen a null command yet? We've not seen one have impact, at the very least.
Well, he's got it now. So that, but again, yeah, I do feel
Baba
like
nasıl bağırıyorlar bak.
Slightly quieter performance from Zeke, especially in comparison to the last map. Yeah, he's currently got 1 kill.
And it's a concern when you bring out an agent like that. It's not a case of, you know, you need to bring out the KO and then top frag. That's not really what it's for. But this just Cypher killed. Love it. It's this position has been exploited a fair few times for Wtcn that he's playing from. We spoke about it as we went into the first round.
Abi BTC'ye ne oluyor diyorsunuz da daha geçen bak Eray abi dedi 45K'ya düşecek dedi.
Maybe now that we start to see a bit more attention put towards
5K beklentisi var Eray abinin.
exactly what's happening on A.
Oh, it's a game of chicken.
Bu nereye gidecek?
Garners a little bit of extra information. He's got his teammate watching the angle. And they already know the bomb code has pushed the threshold. The plan here from Acend is just to be that a little bit more aggressive. And oh, they've almost scared Wtcn off. But with a couple of players being spotted in that direction, I almost feel like they think that this B site is safer than maybe it is.
Yeah, Stazo is also such an aggressive fighting position. Again, just that poison cloud in that spot. I mean, it works. It catches Wtcn on the way out. Not really an angle that you expect a Viper to be playing from. It's not quite ratty. It's out in the open, and Stazo, that's the kind of, even from his personality, he's that good at it. Now it's just a full rotation coming in, then the null command. Now suppressing abilities, but it's not really affecting Joe, and on that Cypher, he can face a little bit more.
Oh, this is starting to fall
Nice
apart.
lan.
Zeke finally steps up to the plate. He is still landing shots, though.
O vurdu amına
fast
koyayım.
reactions, putting this into a 2 versus 2. 30 seconds left.
30 seconds left.
Got to try and clear out Zeke.
Eyvah.
Whoa. Blade Storm going to be popped. They want to try and isolate this duel. The timing going to be everything, and Heat lands the shot even while slightly blind.
Bone cold again.
It is left into this 1v2. They are planting in the spot for Heat to just hold the angle. To clear this out is going to be incredibly difficult, and MW0, I think, has already spotted him, just trying to bait him in, maybe not expecting anybody to just be holding this cross. He gets the information and the tag through, but he, again, connects. Even on low HP, this man pulls off 4 kills, and Wtcn head to 6.
And it's another situation where Acend start to come back into it. Zeke with the null command really declaws Wtcn on this execute utility, not being able to be used. If there was a poison cloud thrown down on the Wtcn side, it was gone and it opened up the site, but this is opping again. Zeke caught out in this spot, just timing out, and Bone Cold yet again. You like the idea, it almost takes down, but it's a difficult position for him to be put in. We've seen a few of that before.
Yeah, they've headed to Heat's playground, and it has definitely been a battle of the Jets. You have to remember a couple of the early rounds granted to Acend were based on multi-frags from Wtcn. Zeke attempting...
No mid at all for Wtcn, at all. This hall is exploited, and so is Zeke.
Easy pick. Again, it's pistols in this round, not really anything to play behind. I think Cena was hoping to try and get the early ultimate orb to turn this into some sort of competition. But again, after early presence in one direction, the full rotation comes through, and Wtcn just back off. They walk away. The mid-round calling, I have to say, from Joe, it's been far superior to what we've seen on the other side, because the amount of times they've either walked into a weaker site or an empty site, it's starting to worry me.
When you have such a big map like Breeze, and you have 5 players up against 4, you really want to stretch them thin, and this is just a little example. It is up against West weaponry. At least the trade is going to stop it from being a flawless round. And the retakes were okay on the A site. Awkward. He's going to be likely to stay in this case.
Oh, the 145. The most painful thing in existence. He's going to do damage, but grant absolutely nothing from it. And again, a lot of low
Biri 5 can, biri 11 can.
Standing for Wtcn. They hit 7. This
3 oldu. Alo.
Victory. And I'm waiting for a response for Acend because sure, I still think both teams are going to be better on the attack, Ryan, but well, they need to give themselves a
25 abone daha mı geldi?
That's what I wanted to check in regards to this tournament. We've seen Breeze
play 3 times. Really mate, çok teşekkür ederim 25 abone daha attın.
Whenever you say 70%, I can't trust you anymore because that's become a meme.
Exus 19 aydır özledim Ferit. Çok teşekkürler abi.
Works out roughly to be 9-3, 10-2. I mean, obviously you've got Gambit 12-0 and on that side. It kind of inflates it a little bit more. But you're right. Like Wtcn want to be running Riot with this side of the half, and I imagine his KO is very much going to come online on the attack, but so far in the defense it's left a lot to be desired.
Oh, the pace change. They want to go walking straight into Cned's lair. The operator in hand already, dropping one. Oh, they've actually got the Hunter's Fury trying to do some damage, but not really finding anything from it. It's at least forced them back, but as said, I think these mid-rounds have looked a lot better on this map in particular from Wtcn. They're going to slow it down. And there is a fairly aggressive spot from Killers that they do have to watch out for. He'll have heard the footsteps.
Nice,
the flash is solid, and he is gone.
Killers just holding on to this column position.
Tam sıçtılar ya.
Screen actually being used to
5 ve 3 buradan vermez herhalde.
Really, the retake position.
Yerleri çok iyi. Mid kontrol bizde.
Such down to a player disadvantage that it's not really useful to hold on to those toxic screens for those moments. So I do like the fact that Stazo is changing it up.
Ya Cino'nun pozisyonu çok yakın değil mi ya? Burada ama galiba. Aynen, nice.
And that's just because Cned is getting so much success with this operator.
Come on!
The recon down coming in nicely. Vixen is the last to go, and really if you needed a hero for a prime game in Flawless, it had to be Cned.
Yeah, there's been too many rounds that have just been won by him, though. Like, I feel like, what, there was a 4K to get them their first round, what, a 3K to get them their second? He's now got himself another 4K to close out another, like, we don't want to talk about this team being like Cned and friends, but that is what it's starting to look like, at least in this matchup. Sure, Bone Cold had a moment or two, but it has been this battle of the Jets throughout Breeze so far, and, well, in the majority of rounds, they've either just completely avoided Cned, or there's been a Jet on the other side to shut him down.
Yeah, similar sort of setup on this defense now in the last round of this half. Cned, though, changing up in the position to more check holes. It's a place that if Wtcn want to rely on anything, it's just bombing it down there. They've caught out Bone Cold a few times. They've got to that switch and that pistol. The B setup has pretty much been consistent with Keyless. And Stazo still having a toxic screen in hand. It's just going to be that poison cloud in the entrance again on that choke. And right now, Vixen's held onto his toxic screen as well, not giving away the plan. But I assume as soon as it goes down across the A site, which is where exactly Wtcn are leaning, Acend are going to be prepared. They are going to try and recheck that position now. They have left it for a while, and good timing at least, as soon as that toxic screen comes through. And look at this one as well, that's set up from Stazo, allows him to play a bit more deeper.
Maybe one they won't be expecting to play against. Managed to find the tag onto Zeke, but he won't go down.
Eyvah, midimiz öldü. Eyvah eyvah.
Switch up. Heat has found a pick on the other side as well, leaving
30 seconds left.
A few players remaining. Not in the worst of spot, but they're going to be pincered in. Cned can only land one, and Zeke just trying to survive. They have been isolated one by one from the side of Wtcn. A solid attacker side round. And what are the chances here for Killers? Completely out of position.
Map derde girdi.
A rotation versus a
Seri derde girdi.
And 4 players waiting.
And we were saying, like in the other series, the round 12, Acend were the ones that were bringing out little curveballs. That's the first time that we've really seen Wtcn presence in mid, getting that kill. And again, the timing to go through. This is now interesting. It's not done and dusted on the side of Acend, but still, that's a lot of momentum. And this is going to be a very important pistol coming through on the second half.
TMP. Tabii. Ama ilk eli almak şart. Yani ilk el verilirse comeback çok zor hale gelir.
Able to pull back in a lot of scenarios, not overextend in most of these cases. So I'm now curious to see what the desk are going to be thinking of this one, because right now Wtcn are in the driver's seat.
Evet, Sto gelmezse gitti maç.
Thank you very much, Tom. It was Achilles who
hoş
said
geldin.
what they could ask for
Evet,
was an
Yiğit fena
8-4
oynuyor
on
ya.
the attacking half, and Wtcn delivered just that. Squarely in the driver's seat here on map number 3.
I think
Ben de
Kirk's
beğendim.
aside,
Adamın
they
harbi
probably would have preferred a
yanıyor yani
9-3,
adam.
just especially given that that had no weight whatsoever, no bearing on
Hatırla,
Vines,
12
but 8-4 still really, really strong. If this ended up going 7-5, that looks a lot rockier for Key to be able to try to close out this map, but this is very strong start for them. This pistol round, important for both sides. Percent trying to get ahead, but also for Wtcn to further stretch this lead.
It's not even just the lead. I want to highlight something that Ryan said. He used the word smart. That's what I felt about Wtcn there. It wasn't the gun game that we were prefacing in previous maps. How many rotations, and these were minute rotations, some were full site rotations, sure, but how many IGL calls came from the leader of Wtcn, which swapped them in split seconds from their push to somewhere else, and Acend, they were too slow to be able to react.
And I know we got into game just before we were able to talk about it, but Joe back on the Cypher, right? We were critical of the Viper pick on the map prior, but you find him in a comfort pick, and he pops off early for the team, not just as an IGL, but as a fragger as well, already in the double digits. That's what you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, and Joe is just like kind of the tip of the iceberg when it comes to comfortable. This is full-blown comfort for everybody on the side of Wtcn. Everybody's basically playing what they're used to, or they're in their second most played role. This is looking way better for them.
Şimdi comeback gelirse Wtcn'i görürüz.
With Zeke moving over to the Rays, when you go back to those agents that you're so well versed on, when you know the lineups on every single map, exactly how to play moment in, moment out, you can
Patron
see
şimdi
the
Acend
difference.
yenilirse
That's
eğleniyorum
part of
Berlin'den.
why we
Hayır.
see this very strong
Grup maçları bu.
Joe had that 3K to kick things off.
Kendi grubunda lower bracket'e düşüyor.
Like an absolute pro. The other person I want to call back to is the new addition, MW0. Had the 1v3 clutch that we can't ignore. When you talk about getting to that 8-4 scoreline,
eğer bunu yenilirse buraya düşüyor. Lower. Envy ile Acend-Keyd'in yenileniyle oynayacak. Sonra Decider'a geçecek. Sonra buranın kaybedeniyle oynayacak. Sonra Qualify. Playoff'a çıkar. Ama tabi buradan çıkması, bunu buradan yenerek Winners'tan çıkması Seed için önemli. O yüzden buradan çıkması lazım. Buradan giderse işi biraz zora gider. Daha güçlü takımlarla oynar playoff'ta. Erken karşılaşır daha güçlü takımlarla. Oğlum Liquid Sentinels'le eşleşti bu arada. Alo. 4 Aralık saat 5. Alo. Yarın lan. Siktir.
We'll have to see at this point. I said that this pistol's going to be and it was going to be for Zeke. He's almost doubled the kills he's had in the server just off this pistol alone in the first 7 seconds. Now that Util is going to be fired in onto B, it was a site that was held loosely for Wtcn. And just as we were sort of saying, mid-control on the attack for Wtcn, they didn't really go elbow at all on the attack, but that's where they went instantly on the defense.
Maybe a hard read, but whatever it is, it still worked out for Acend. The timing for MW0, though, couldn't have been any better. He's brought things back into a 3v3 and looks to move over to his teammates. The peak from CNED is also going to be
ne oldu amına koyayım? Ne oldu ya?
Individually, but he's now coming up big for his squad once again. It's left on to Zeke. I believe he might even have to ace it just to take this one home, and it is not happening. A 3 versus 4 to a 3 versus 0. Wtcn end up dominating the pistol.
It's the trades, it's the spacing. You would have just assumed on how cleanly Acend broke into the site, but in the end, the macro play from Vivo was spot on, right? Like they played off of the site, they played retake, and you can really start to understand why.
Brezilyalılara bak harbiden ya.
Difficult place to come back from if you're Acend. Basically, it's the roles reversed from what we saw on Bind. I don't imagine they're going to force up this round though.
No, they did get themselves the spike down, but in a round like this especially, unless you're going
aynı anda peek atamamışlar ya orada. Yine peekler piklemez ölmüş. Ardından tarz ölmüş tak diye.
The other two teams that are playing later today, and VX10 also in this group, probably watching this one, hoping that Wtcn win. Don't need to worry about.
Ya bir eko çalmak yok mu ya? Şöyle bu eli bir çalsak böyle.
Yeah. Hopefully Mitch will be back from that. Deal with it. But I'm sure like NV favorites.
Yalandan.
Really wanted Wtcn to win this one. And Acend.
One Colt 2 kill alsa, Cinet 3 kill alsa.
Scary. You never know what you're going to get from either of those two teams that are still playing later on today. Sen slowly making their way into the site. Camera's going to get all of the information from Joe.
BBG kameraları. Eyvah eyvah. Eyvah eyvah. Geldi çocuk.
Realistically now it's all about damage and heat. He's not going to allow for any of it. Just popping heads as he goes, leaving killers. As the last man standing, absolutely no chance for him here in a blade storm.
Bu eleman ne la?
So this is a
hareketlere bak, bu böyle falan yapıyor karşıya.
I think they're actually going to give him that extra diffusal just to make sure that he gets it. He can drop that bulldog over to a teammate, even having a little bit of fun, just baiting them with the diffuse. So 10-4. A long road. In fact, looking like an impossible road for Acend at this point, but at least they now come in with a buy.
It's imperative that they pick this one up, I feel. The pistol, it's just these strong starts. Like the first 10 to 15 seconds always looking pretty good from Acend, but closing it out. It's almost like watching Fnatic of sort of stage 3, right? It's just the kind of like the decision making, the play. I don't even say you could just say like it's choking. It's just
hadi Cino, hadi oğlum, hadi.
Of each other's paw. In a couple of those situations, players looking in various different directions and not trading off each other. It's a scramble, and that's not good luck from Acend.
Oh, here is that blaze storm. Aggressive peek out.
Ya ne oldu? Ne oldu? Elin kolunu tutmadı lan. Aman geçiyor mu lan oradan mermi?
There was an attempt.
There was. It's not going to really achieve anything at all, and again, still a few extra pieces in this round for Wtcn. They've got themselves the bulldog, a little bit of range added into what is mostly Spectres.
They're very scared of like this elbow tunnel position on B though. And the 0 point is about to come online for Zeke. He's not that far away from having a null command to be fair, but all of these players pushing for double door. Hold it, see if they can catch a player.
Nice.
I like the idea from Vtcn. Just peek out, try and catch them whilst they're not looking, but it's a bit more tight play from both.
Bak abi Spectre'a bak. Ay nefret ediyorum bu silahtan, nefret ediyorum.
Well, eventually killers will be there with the trade, but this round is still not over. A 2 versus 3. Any more kills than this, and it's far more costly than they would have liked, and almost caught switching to the rifle, but hey, the rifle's been collected. Still having a couple of orbs available to actually heal and dismiss. Mures could take this one into his own hands. Now the afterplant looking decent already. Utility not going to play a part in this one really for the side of Acend. It's more just those individual battles, the team play, the synergy, the crossfires, and while just waiting on the other side, it should have been an easy kill eventually will come through as Acend are back on the board with a 5th, but we know that there's a buy coming.
I still think it's hit the round in any case, regardless of how many members hit. But even just like the play from it, it was like trying to be coy, playing around this toxic screen. It worked out in the end from Starzo. Nice positioning to know that Mures was going to push through with a lair. Perfect positioning, stood in the right spot. But even like where Keyless was, he was pretty much hunkering down in this position as we see the round end. If he goes down, it can quickly unravel. It's not playing these set spots with utility ready. It's holding very close and hoping to catch off Wtcn.
Again, early knife to clear any of those aggressive positions, and straight away with the null command just going to go running into the site, removing the dash, but he's managed to reposition just off the edge of it. Still going to be caught and actually just take Zeke down straight away, of course. Opportunity to get res, but never mind. Already the headshot coming through. Joe desperately wanting to add to his kill tally as he's just spamming through, and eventually
eyvah eyvah. Durun lan kaldıracağız diye şimdi ölmeyin amına koyayım.
This round, but he might have done enough trying to spot people early on the edge with the dismiss. But they have to watch out. There's a flank coming in. Killers could end this round in its tracks, but they're getting aggressive enough that they might be able to kill a few of the players before they come through. Vtcn will land the shot as they wrap back around and leave this now onto just 2 players. The flanker, but more importantly, Cnet. He's the one with the angle onto the spike, and he gets absolutely nothing. Just 1 player down, leaving it to Killers. He
Yapma be.
Not close out Mures, who ends this round with a triple.
It's the fact that Wtcn as well, that Viper's Pit goes down on the side for Acend in the plant. They actually kind of go in towards the back of the site to avoid Keyless coming in through double doors.
Adamlar iyi vuruyor ya, makineler yani.
It's just kind of expecting that crunch to come through. They almost used the Viper's Pit to his advantage. Yet again, it forces Acend to try and play up, play forward. And Vtcn, well, we were talking about these other like duelist players finding those kills, finding those frags. Now even the support players are doing the same thing.
Yeah, we have now seen those pop-off moments from literally everyone on the side of Wtcn, and this is the map that I would say they've actually looked best on, even considering the Icebox was into the pool, maybe picking it just because they didn't think they'd get it later. And he's taking no liberties, pushing all the way forward. Now, they've heard the Blade Storm popped. It's Wtcn having something at least a little bit extra, but hiding in this corner is not going to be checked. It's a freebie, and now he can just back away, wary just in case someone's going to try and peek up and trade him out, but he'll escape before anyone will be able to respond.
It was also just a 50-50 decision making. That was in the hands of Bone Cold to try and clear him, but they decided against it. Like, in these scenarios, they're not sure what they want to do. Protocols have been better, and now Muris can sort of go to town with mid control. Starzo lurking late, even if he gets pretty far, there is a tripwire to stop him. Joe, playing in this switch spot, kind of knows it. Go away.
Not today, thank you. Starzo, well, being literally shut out of this round. Shock darts to weaken him up. It's been looking a lot more disjointed in this map from Acend, but the fact is Wtcn have isolated those individual duels and they have won the majority of them. With 2 players remaining, it's forced into a save, and realistically, it's going to have to be a 7-round streak for Acend. Otherwise, we are going to see the Brazilian team head into that upper bracket match.
And across, like Wtcn in this series, the mechanical skill is there, the firepower, we knew it would be. But just the team play, just the ideas, the defaults, the executes, the post
Para kalmayacak, save'lemeleri
is a
lazım.
lot sharper. Now this looks like a Brazilian super team.
Yeah, this is what we've been waiting for, and while Starzo, there's no escape. Every gun removed. A Prime Gaming flawless round as well coming out from the side of Wtcn. They are 1 round away from putting themselves on the map at Champions. We came into this event not knowing what to expect, not knowing what agents they played, not knowing how they would compete within a group that is a tough one. The grand finalist of the previous in EMEA, one of the best teams in a form of a original Masters champion, be it more of a local event. But they have come in, and they are 1 round away from knocking them into the lower bracket.
There is still that second chance at the very least. It's not elimination that we're talking about, but the topic of discussion probably coming up a bit earlier than Acend were expected. Joe is under a lot of pressure. I think Acend have it most. Joe is actually not worried at all. He's not seen it.
Nice amına koyayım.
Onlar had 2 or 3 kills on this attack inside so far.
It may not matter. It's already going to be the
nice Bone Cold.
Going in.
Bone
Cold is bringing things back.
Ne diyorsun ya?
To save them. Keep them in this map at least as killers. Drops Wtcn. It's left onto this new man on the block, the Loney that is quickly making a name for himself, but not in this round. We'll put him in the grave and give them a 6th, but it is still a mountain to climb for a second.
The idea of the round the top will hit B very quickly, overwhelmed, and Joe, he didn't feel overwhelmed at all. In fact, he's just like, I'm gonna go put, hey, how are you guys doing? You alright? I'm just gonna stop seeing it from planting the spike. Like, it's good clear up in the end, like Bone Cold,
çok iyi vurmuş lan
the
hepsine.
sort of secondary entry play that you want to see. And it's just been 2 sides to Acend we've seen today. Like the brilliance combined, Breeze and Icebox though.
Şimdi mi oynamaya karar
where
verdiniz?
they already typically ban Haven. Doesn't matter who they're playing next, they're good maps to exploit. But still not out.
Yeah, again though, it's not a weak purchase coming back for Wtcn. In fact, you've now got
Starzo'da hala Spectre var.
on the operator, 1 away from a Blade Storm, and if he can finish this here and now, I don't think they're going to mind. Looking to try and garner at least a little bit of information. They look to try and burst into this.
Bu ne boktan bir şey lan.
Waiting back behind, looking to
Burana.
pushing alongside.
Aman Zeke.
Good, and he eventually, it's a labored spray, but he gets the kill nonetheless. The spike yet to cross. So still not directly committed, but with 2 players already in, you'd expect them to make their way through, just waiting for the screen to be recharged. But look at this wraparound through mid.
Spike planted.
He also still have a bit of utility to throw in to try and catch them off. Mirrors is a bit of spray. Wtcn trading up seen it, so again it's this managing to slip through. You need these kind of moments.
Güzel. Ekolar mı? Yok değillerdir ya. Bir el daha ondan sonra Eko'ya düşecekler.
Blaze Storm survived through this round. I think there's still a threat for sure.
Hadi lan.
Yeah, I think this is just the difference now for Acend. Just pick up that pace a little bit, back to the basics, not try and overthink anything too much, and give the opportunity for someone like Killers to have these later lurk plays.
Yok mu bir Çek Cumhuriyeti maçı gibi amına koyayım?
That stair spot is probably been the most impactful.
Aa,
The
ekolar.
steps that literally Joe is stood on right now. Even in the round we saw the recon dart coming through. It lands on sort of that main platform bit on Switch. And Joe is just sat a couple of steps down. It doesn't catch him at all. Then the Hunter's Fury gets thrown out. Roughly in the spot that Joe's in. It's too high. Like, he has not felt pressured in that position at all. It was only when Zeke went for that hero play to catch him out. Keyless is then able to get through
Fenerbahçe
to switch
Sevilla
and then
maçı.
get the triple kill.
2008 Şampiyonlar
It's
Ligi.
actually kind of impressive how structurally
David'in
integral
golü abi.
Joe has been on this defense from one position that doesn't seem the most obvious to control.
Of.
Yeah, I think as well, just the night and day of the agents that he is playing. Like, moving back over to that Sentinel has, well, made him look like a completely different player. So I wonder if, like, going into the future with some of the other maps, we might see some adaptations in composition just in this tournament.
Yeah.
Just to try and move away from going, okay, this is the best comp we can play, to this is the best comp we can play.
2-2 penaltılarda kazandığımız maç işte. Chelsea'de de attı. Sevilla maçında da attı ya. Yanlış mı hatırlıyorum?
This is the best that he has personally looked. And Wtcn as well. He was on Vorax. He was one of the most sought after players on that team. It feels. Now it's all starting to come together and Acend, if they can get that confidence up, you know, there's maybe some mental break,
Adam gol kralı
mental
olacaktı
boom
amına
that
koyayım.
Wtcn can come into. But really, I haven't seen that at all, other than the map that Acend have been dominant on versus everybody, and that being bind. Here, it's just been responses after responses.
Early aggression already. Heat looking for the opener, but again, I think
Ekolar.
there's 2 Blade Storms he's popped that Zeke has been able to deny. Already earning up the null command in around of Eco. Might be something they want to pop just to try and make things a little bit more.
Nice.
A couple of tags coming through from
İki tane tagledi ama bak.
and actually a fair few low players now on the side of Acend.
Nice
Still
oğlum.
an awful lot to do for the remainder, but they can make this one costly. Left on to Wtcn.
Aman dikkat, canlar az, çok güzel. Çok güzel. 12-8. Bu round kritik. Bu round kritik. Bu roundu alırsak 12-9 üstüne ekolar 12-10 olurum. 12-10'luk round, hadi alın.
Yeah, at least the rest of the Acend are coming together now a little bit more. Cned really not having the money to certainly buy up an operator. Now he's got it in hand. Just the fact that you have 3 ultimates on this defense, the buy is there. There is an
Olurlar. Eko olurlar.
Likely to be online unless Keyless and Starzo.
Riske atmazlar, eko olurlar bu round alırsak.
Maybe again that's one of the reasons why they're going to be, and from all of the hits we've seen, it's been so high tempo.
Yeah, I assume this is going to be fast as well. The fact that Starzo has the operator means that
Tamam,
Cned
izleriz
is probably
bay
about
İzmir'le.
to just
Bakarız.
launch himself straight into the site.
Özgök teşekkür ederim. Bu arada bacağın güzelmiş.
Joe,
Eyvallah.
So much
Kiles helal.
utility just forcing them back, although there is a trade. The Hunter's Fury actually finding a couple of tags here and there. He has managed to get another one, and this leaves Zeke isolated on the site. The remaining couple of players just trying to hold from the backlines. The wrap around from Bone Cold could be absolutely everything.
Yeah, that elbow control is going to be so important, but they really need to
helal Bone Cold
in this situation. There's an important kill for Bone Cold. Zeke is still holding on, but he is putting up the pressure. He's starting to try and cook the KO alive, but Mura is actually getting behind.
Nice.
Zeke. One more,
Zeke,
a 2 versus 2 scenario, and they have to clear this man from the flank. It's left all up to Zeke to try and close this one out, but it isn't going to be happening. It is Wtcn that head through it to the upper bracket, and Acend have already faltered in this tournament. They had a rough time when they came to Berlin for the first time, and it looks like they're having a rough one again. But on the other side of things, the Brazilians have proven that they can fight versus the best.
Super team power. We were looking for that upset early on in the tournament. We saw a couple of glimpses, but today it's finally happened.